weather forecaster said we were going to have a pretty good day for flying, but naturally, since I'm bringing a new plane out, that didn't work out. It was cold and very overcast, and I had a white airplane, so we did the only sensible thing, and I maidened it anyway. I wasn't absolutely sure that the 60cc radio was going to have enough power for this plane, but we'd find out that that wasn't a problem. We also thought that a twist in the wing might give this thing a little roll on takeoff, but that didn't work out either. It turns out my new Waco just wanted to fly. I added 2 clicks of down elevator and 1 click of left aileron, and as soon as I leveled it out here, it was flying hands off. So I decided to fly a few laps around the field to see how this thing handled. I was a little surprised to see that different speeds didn't really change the handling much. And to be honest, since the plane was flying so well, some of these low passes down the runway were just to listen to the radio go by. While the radio was reliable, it was a little rich, and we'd have to tune that up a little bit before the next flight. A friend of mine who also has this Waco found his roll rate was very slow, and he had to put servos in the top wing. I stuffed some 400-ounce high-techs in the bottom wing and ran both of the ailerons off of those, and that seems to work fine. It's not blurring the wing or anything, but it's got a decent roll rate for a plane this big. I always start shooting approaches early in the trim flight just in case we need to get this thing back on the ground for some reason. This also gives me some idea of how the plane glides and how the controls react at lower speeds. It turns out the Waco's a puppy in all of those. It just flies nice everywhere you go with it. I had my usual landing F mode set up, and I found that adding a couple of clicks of down elevator helped keep the nose down and made the plane a lot more predictable on landing. With that little bit of down elevator, I had to hold just a little bit of pressure on the elevator to keep it flat and let it grease itself in on the runway. It's very easy to land. This is the second flight, and the motor's leaned out a couple of clicks, and that seems to be a lot better. People told me that the 60cc radio wouldn't pull this plane, but it's doing just fine. It's got a 22C vest prop on it, and it seems to like that. Eventually I'll try a 23B and see if that makes any difference. I wasn't expecting the Waco to be very slow, but I was surprised at how fast it actually was. That's a 27-pound airplane with 2 big wings on it, but it gets through the air very well. Regardless of the speed or attitude, the handling seems very crisp all the time. This Waco is very predictable and easy to fly. The Waco's flying is so nice that I decided it was time to land to give my friend Dennis some time on his sticks. Dennis is one of the smoothest pilots I know, and this gives me a good chance to sit back and watch the plane for a while. One of the things that surprised Dennis and me was how little down elevator is needed when you roll this plane inverted. Keep in mind that this is still with my wide open throw theory, and we're going to refine that in subsequent flights. Dennis pulled the Waco up through some big loops and found out that Sato radio's got plenty of power. The Waco also recovers from maneuvers very quickly. Dennis took it up a little higher and put it into a flat spin and found out that it recovers from that very easily. There's no overcorrecting or cross-controlling needed. Want to do a rolling circle? The Waco likes that also. This plane just doesn't do unexpected things. I was more than a little surprised at how consistent the control responses are no matter what the attitude of the plane is. It occurred to me that we hadn't looked to see how much fuel this plane uses in a flight. For a maiden day, regardless of the weather, everything had been going great, so this was a good time to land the plane and end the day. This is Dennis's first landing attempt with the Waco. The biggest problem today is that Dennis is a little ticked at me now because I let him fly the Waco, and now he wants one, and a radial engine. Things are tough, Dennis.